So I think Wizards are hinting for the sets for the next 2 years. Now you're probably thinking, where am I coming up with this? How did this come in my head? And it's all because of these lands here. Now when it comes to these lands, I know they're not very fun or not many people like them, but they are coming out in the set, and I've seen a lot of people complain about them or completely ignore them. However, I do think they are heavily hinting at the sets for the next 2 years. So the reason I think of this is that there's 10 lands, but at the text at the bottom it mentions places and locations that we have been before and are going to. So we have to go back to actually 2022. So in 2022 we went to Kamigawa, we went to Streets New Capenna, and we went to Dominaria twice. Now if you look at these texts, there's 3 cards that mention those 3 locations, it being the Dimir, Rakdos and Boros lands. So we can scratch them off the list. Now we're in 2023, where they've already announced the sets for 2023, and after the war is done and everything, we're going back to Eldraine and Ixalan, which is very strange because if you look at the lands, Eldraine's mentioned and Ixalan's mentioned with the Simic and Golgari cards. So that's 5 places we've been in the last 2 years with 5 of the lands already being made. So the other 5 lands say different places too, but we haven't been there in a few years, or there's been core sets in between in different locations. So I'm going to go over every single one and give my thoughts and opinions on why we're going there in the next year or 2. And the reason I say year or 2 is that it took 2 years to go through 5 sets, and I think they're going to do the same again. Starting off with the Azorius land. The Azorius land says on it that it's in Theros, which we were 2-3 years ago. However, there was like Strixhaven in between, another set. So I think we're going back there, and I think we're going back there for 2 reasons. With one, during this entire Phyrexian arc, Ashiok has been mentioned a few times, but not has been much to do with them or mentioned about them or what they're doing or their plan. So they probably just went back home, so Tezzera or someone else might find information that only Ashiok might know, so they have to go there and find out this information. The second one being is we currently, as of recording this, don't know what's happened to Elspeth. With this blue card here, shows that she's probably planeswalking or is alive still, but where's she gonna go? And the only place I can think of her going is rather her hometown in New Capenna, or back to find Ashiok or a weapon, because she has lived there for so long. She might have a weapon or item or clothes that she wants to get that is personally hers, or wants to stop Ashiok. So that's my second reasoning there, with Ashiok and Elspeth being both named in the story. She probably has to go back and get information off Ashiok. I know I'm kind of grasping at stuff, but it's all little things, but it's one of those things where 5 of the lands are already like gone for the last 2 years, so it does kind of somewhat make sense. I'm just trying to figure out why they would go back, and the only thing I can think of is Ashiok or Elspeth needing to go back to Theros for some reason, which we do not know yet. But March of the Machine's not out, or the Aftermath is not out, so we've still got a lot of information we're waiting for. The next one mentioned is the Grow card in Zendikar. Now this is going to be me grasping at little information we have, and I know that, but there is 2 main reasons I think that we are going to go back to Zendikar at some point. One being Omnath. Omnath's been released as a 5-color, like giant, big, massive threat that someone needs to stop. Where it seems to be, it might be coming out in War of Spark or the Aftermath that someone stops Omnath, but Omnath is really powerful and really good currently. So I think there might be a little story, or if they do stop Omnath because it is pretty much the soul of Zendikar, or because it's part of Zendikar itself, something could happen to Zendikar and people need to fix it. The second reasoning I'm thinking we're going back to Zendikar is a very weird reason. I think if we are going to go back, it's going to be in 2025, and it's going to be for a very silly and stupid reason. When I say it, you'll understand, and it's based on this artwork. So Nis has been completed, and Nis is from Zendikar, and Sandra, I know they got rid of it, but is in love or loved, or they're really close friends. And I picture Sandra being the way Sandra is, and knowing her loss of a friend, she goes to Zendikar and stays in Zendikar. So even if Chandra doesn't get completed in the aftermath or whatever happens at the end, I do personally think that it's going to be the end of her story, where she's just going to live in Zendikar. We might come back in a few years' time where she's kind of more gone from like magic robes to like the more tribal stuff, and Zendikar's back to being an amazing place because she spent years fixing it. So I think it will be a really good place for kind of Sandra's goodbye, because it does seem they're getting rid of the main core of Planeswalkers. And if you think that's me grasping at straws, you should see this one. For the Selesnya, it says Amonkhet. The only reason I can think of Amonkhet is because of Tezzeret. Now, you're probably going, how does this make sense? Tezzeret worked underneath Bolas, and Bolas is technically alive. So there's going to be two reasons why they go back there, and it's rather going to be, let's say after the war we find out Elesh is still alive, and she has information of Jace that Bolas is still alive, but Bolas, being the very careful dragon he's always been, and very like, he plans ahead, probably has a way to go back to Amonkhet, kind of the way like Voldemort spread himself in different parts, or something along those lines. So I think we're going back to Amonkhet for one of two ways, and it's rather they have to stop a half-dead Elesh Norn, or Elesh Norn or someone bringing back Bolas, or Jace even bringing back Bolas, or Tezzeret goes, we need Bolas, finds out from when he was betraying them, and then tells whoever is left to then go and be like, we need to release Bolas, here is plan B if he died. So I know it's a big grasping at straws, but I know it's a theory video. Now, with only 2 lands left, there are a lot shorter theories, because the next one is the Orzhov land, and we're going back to Ikoria. Now, Ikoria is one of my favorite sets. It's always a draw between Ikoria and Strixhaven. I love those two sets. Like, really good. Mutate is one of my favorite abilities when it comes to Magic the Gathering, and I don't really have a full theory for this one, but just the thought of Phyrexian Mutate just sounds amazing to me, and I think it would be absolutely amazing just plowing Mutate cards but sacrificing life and doing some weird Mutate stuff. I have a full Mutate deck. I also like try and put Mutate in decks that I can, because I just love the ability so much. The only downside, this is more of a personal thing than anything else, is I have a deck with every single Mutate card in it, and the whole point is just to keep mutating, untapping with Seaborn Muse and having Flash to mutate on again, and it works really well. It's actually a really good deck, but if they make more Mutate cards, I won't really have a deck with all Mutate in it. That's just my own personal thing, but I do think us going back to Ikoria with Mutate and Phyrexian Mutate would be absolutely amazing. And then finally is the Izzet land, going back to Kaladesh, and the only reason I think we're going back there is it's been a while since we've been there, and the fact that Saheeli's there, and she's been mentioned a few times in the story, and she knows how to make the Silex bowl thingy, and I can just picture them needing another, or them wanting to use it for another reason, or they might find a different artifact and need her to build it, and then someone decides to stop it, and then normal story stuff. But I know a lot of these are me just grasping at straws and just like theorizing things, but that was the whole point of the video. A little bit of fun, a little bit of like getting your brain thinking and be like, oh yeah, that is a possibility. So as always, I would love to ask if there's any theory or anything you know, anything I missed, because I don't know everything about the story. Please let me know in the comments down below, and I will probably make a video if there's enough comments talking about it to be able to make a video on, kind of making a second part of this, but we'll see how that goes. And while you're down there, remember to like, subscribe, and follow me on all my other social media, and all that YouTubey stuff that YouTubers always ask you to do, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye! Also, if you like this video, I talked about the new secret layer that's coming out for your local LGS. The video's right here. I have a playlist of Magic the Gathering here, and remember to subscribe here. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye!